44th between 9th and 10th.
It's nice you're not on your phone. See a human, not plugged in. It says a lot about you.
I like to think so.
What's his name?
I'd rather not say.
You're afraid to say his name because the guy's married, or you're married, or someone's married.
He's married.
I know he's married. He'll drive a cab 20 years and not know people.
My mother says,
Word of advice. Don't ever say the word love, all right?
I just couldn't not say it anymore.
What's he supposed to do, love you back? You got a good heart, I can see that, which is why I just gotta tell you, you're better off walking away.
What about you?
Well, it's time for me to ante up.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, how'd you meet your wife?
She threw up in my cab. She was like a summer day, you know? Not too complicated, just beer and a bag of chips and we were set.
Do you miss her?
I do sometimes. Yeah. You gonna be all right?
I don't know.
At the end of the day, everything comes into focus. And then goes out again. But that's a story for another cab ride.
Boom, there you go. That was a trailer for Daddio, arriving to theaters on June 27th, 2024, from writer-director Christy Hall, starring Dakota Johnson and Sean Penn. I'm Kuya P. What are we doing? We're forgetting ourselves. I'm Kuya P. Nerds rule the world. And of course, my pal, Heather, to talk all things Daddio, this upcoming release. How are you, Heather?
I'm okay. I'm surprised. I think that's the right word.
When this came along, we didn't do a trailer react to it at all yet. It just kind of came out from the studio, and and very pleasantly surprised. Let's just get into the brief synopsis. There's not even a lot to say with this, and with the length of cast. It's about a woman played by Dakota Johnson who takes a cab ride from JFK. While she's on this cab ride, she engages in conversation with the cab driver, played by the one and only Sean Penn. And they talk about the different things in their lives. I don't want to give away too much there. But yeah, those are your two stars. Really not many other folks in this. And then writer-director Christy Hall, who you may know from, I had this pulled up. Let me bring it right back up. She was a writer-creator on the TV series I Am Not Okay With This. That's on Netflix. She also has an upcoming film called It Ends With Us. And she also wrote The Husband's Secret. I'm very curious about this, her, because we'll now get into the review. I quite enjoyed this. This was different. It was, again, a pleasant surprise from the studio to check this out. So I would definitely suggest when this drops on June 27th to check it out. We're going to get into our thoughts and we'll avoid spoilers, but I was quite surprised by this. It's a different film than most films I watch. It's single location. They're in this cab, and you just are watching these two dynamic personalities kind of engage in conversation through text, though. There is some parts where she's on her phone while she's talking to the cab driver, and it's just, again, very different. And again, I don't want to avoid spoilers, but what I will say is if you don't want to spoil yourself, don't go see Madam Web, Dakota Johnson's other project that she did recently, like I did. I watched it on Netflix. And I'm a Marvel fan, but it was just but I think Dakota Johnson kind of really brings something to the table with this project. Having this conversation with Sean Penn. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was cool. It was different. Again, you had to be a good actor to like carry a film for whatever the runtime is.
An hour and a half. It's a solid hour and a half film. Yeah.
Yeah. You had to be invested into it to like really want to sit there for just seeing two people talk. And I was into it. I was into it. Those are my quick thoughts real quick. How about you, Heather? What were your thoughts, coming into this, and then we'll, get it more into this review.
Sure. It was actually kind of surprising when Kuya sent this to me. I had no idea what it was. I was just like, all right, I'll watch it. My producer told me to do it, so I'm watching it. And the first couple minutes, I actually I love horror movies. I love horror movies, but I'm also, as I've said on this channel multiple times, I am a huge pansy. So the first couple of minutes kind of seemed like a horror film, and I'm really red-faced thanks to this light. I'm sorry, guys. Apparently, I'm just a apple today. But the first couple of minutes seemed almost horror-esque, so I paused it to go look up the very, very, very brief synopsis, and it's like, oh, okay, it's not a horror. So what is happening in this weird situation where this woman gets into a cab? And it was surprising. It's not one of those movies that's, incredibly fast-paced. It is only an hour and a half. You're not sitting here like watching the clock tick by. It's a great background movie. I was, the day job, we need, come on sponsors. But the day job, I did this while I watched it. I listened to it while I was working. That was one of the things that I really liked about this movie. It was very listenable. There are a lot of movies where you can't do other things. You really have to pay 150% attention. I'm not saying that I didn't spend a solid amount of attention on this movie, but this is just one of those great movies that you won't, those moments in between aren't incredibly detrimental to miss. And honestly, I kind of like that. I liked a movie that I could just kind of flow with, that I could enjoy while I was doing other things. The only thing that kind of caught that was the text messages. You do need to read during some of those slow moments. But other than that, but it does, it pings like an actual text. So it draws your attention back real quick. And I enjoyed it. Once again, this was a very pleasant surprise. Very, very simple movie, but sometimes the simplest movies are the best.
Completely agree. And let me give a shout out to Sony Pictures Classics. They're the ones dropping this film, coming to you on June 27th. So yeah, two people having a conversation, very simple concept. And again, a pleasant surprise that we'd be drawn in. So I kind of wanted to chat with you, Heather, about kind of simple concept films like this, where it's just like one location, two actors. Would you have saw this on your own? Do you like films like this? And or now having seen this, would you be interested in seeing other films like this? Before you even give me that, though, I know you and I both are theater cats. And this was from Christy Hall. She actually intended this to be a theatrical performance. And I can see that, definitely. I can see that this is that mold. But I think it works that she did this as a feature film. Yeah, what are your thoughts and your vibes on projects like this that are adapted to the screen? And I'd also want to say I would still want to see this as a theatrical play and something to see other people perform. I think there's some good stuff here and good material here.
Absolutely. When it comes to indie films, I like to say that I go out and find indie films. But before we started doing this, before I joined you, it was a lot easier for me to just sit and kind of go through the Netflix, playlist and see what else I haven't watched. But, lately it's, we have to watch what we got to watch. And it's a lot harder for me to nitpick when I have 14 Disney films that I really, really have to watch versus, hey, let me just go see what's on Netflix that I can binge. I love indie films. Once again, we talked about this in the Megalopolis review, even though I think YouTube, come on now. You can fund 15, 20, 30 of these really cute, sweet, great paced films for the price of one of these gigantic films that is going out there. Unknown creatives, even actors that are, if you don't know who Sean Penn is, you haven't watched a movie. Even with, small cast sets with big names, you can fund these incredible films that are very simple, very easy. And that's what we need more of. We need more of these down to basics films. I love them, especially as a theater kid, watching just simple stories with great acting is awesome.
Definitely. Yeah. So I think we could all relate with a film like this too. It's kind of like, eavesdropping in a way, you know. That's kind of like what you're put in as you're listening to this. What do you think about the performances of Dakota and Sean? I thought, again, you know, two outstanding actors. This took the bad taste out of my mouth from Madam Web, because I had just watched that as I put on Daddio, and I was like, yeah, she's got some chops. Not that she was bad at Madam Web, but it was just Madam Web failed her. I think the screenplay failed her. They got her.
I think everything failed on Madam Web. I think everyone failed.
But yeah, she was a delight in this, and a good change of pace. What were your thoughts on Dakota and Sean?
I'm glad Dakota has been able to move on from her gray past. So it's important that we get rid of that stain of our existence. But I really enjoyed it. Once again, the simplicity to it, but it's also not easy to act in a human nature on screen sometimes. And both of them were just you could see yourself being in either seat. I mean, yeah. I couldn't, because I'm not a man, and he is very much acting as a man would act on purpose. But it's one of those where they're both people, they're both human. And there's a level of reflection in both of them. And I like it. They were both great. They're both wonderful. And I love Sean Penn. Like, I mean, it's freaking Sean Penn.
Yeah. It was so good, because it was such a personal performance. Mm-hmm. And the context of what they're talking about, again, I'm trying not to spoil, really got you in, and they pulled it off very well. Even in the mannerisms where, you know, Dakota has to take from what she's seeing on a phone to the dialogue she's having with, you know, Sean. It was just really well done. Again, very I had a word there, but I think they performed their jobs immaculately as actors, and understated. They had to do understated moments, you know, to carry the script along. And I was pleasantly surprised. So any other words on Daddio, Heather?
No, check it out. Definitely watch it. You know, watch some more indie films. Get inspired by some of these movies.
Definitely. Shout out to Christy Hall, writer, director, brilliant performance. And again, new director. You know, she only has like 3 other projects that's really out there. And I was curious about checking it out, because when you find somebody that, you know, really grabs you like this did, you hopefully are driven to check out more of their work. And so I think a standout performance from Christy Hall, Dakota Johnson, Sean Penn. Delivered. Daddio arriving from Sony Pictures Classics on June 27th, 2024. Although I'm also seeing June 28th online. So 2 different release dates here, but 2 days coming soon in June from Sony Picture Classics. Heather Hurt, your boy QP. If you want to talk all things Daddio, there's some in the comments below, y'all.